It's hard sometimes for parents to leave their children at daycare or drop them off at school, but it can be doubly difficult for the child to watch a parent walk away.
Right. Caitlin Muller is here from Red Door Pediatric Therapy. We are continuing our discussion about separation anxiety. Now, last week we talked about, some of the reasons that it happens and different reactions that kiddos can have. But now let's talk about what parents can do about it. And I have had experience with this, with having to really make the child unhappy. It's hard. The parent cries as much as the kid sometimes.
Yeah, parents can feel so guilty about it, but it's completely normal. So you'll see that stranger anxiety in babies, typically intensifying around 7 to 11 months. And then in young children, you can see separation anxiety behaviors, especially when they're first starting daycare, they're first starting preschool, and they have to spend that time away from their caregiver. So totally normal to see some of those behaviors.
Let me ask you this. You said, what the age is when it typically happens, but do children, at what point do they really recognize that it's their parents who are taking care of them and not just some adult?
Yep, so in infancy, really. So your baby starts to develop that independence and knows that they're separate from the parent and then starts to really attach to that primary caregiver. So early on in infancy, you see that happening.
Okay, so it tends to be the person that they hang with the most.
Yes.
Now, could this be like maternity leave? Moms are at home constantly with the baby. Now they've got to go back to work.
Yep.
Could that also be an effect?
Yes, and that might be where you see you have to drop your baby off at daycare now, or some parents can stay with your child a little bit longer, so you might see it into age 2, 3, but really when your child has to spend more time away from you, you might see those separation anxiety.
Okay, so daycare, dropping them off for kindergarten, those kinds of things. What can moms and dads do?
So moms and dads can practice beforehand. So one thing that you want to do is develop a goodbye ritual. So you might practice it with your child where you're doing like 3 quick kisses on the cheek or a special wave through the window as you're leaving. And then you also want to just practice being away from your child. So let somebody else watch your child for an hour. Let a babysitter come over. So just get them used to the fact that they're not going to be with you all of the time. And then when it's time for those real separations, where it's time to say goodbye at daycare or at preschool, you want to leave without fanfare. So when it's time to say goodbye, tell your child, I'm leaving and I'll be back. And then don't make it into a bigger deal than it is, and make sure that you leave. Yes, because you're just lengthening that amount of time that your child is upset. So the longer that you stand there and you're saying goodbye and comforting them, just the longer you're kind of dragging that out for them.
Is there ever a reason to be concerned when the child is upset?
I mean, it's normal to see these behaviors. So I would say if you're looking at it long term and your child is still having problems saying goodbye and it's really distressing for them and it's impeding their ability to participate, to go to school, to participate in age appropriate activities, that's where you might want to think about separation anxiety disorder and whether you're kind of cross that line over into needing some help with that.
Okay, so but for parents to know, it's first of all the child is going to live through the distress, and chances are as soon as you're gone they settle into something else, right?
Usually, yes.
So develop the ritual, practice it, and then when you get there, here you go.
Yep, exactly.
See ya.
Yep. And you want to explain to your child style of when you'll be back. So rather than saying, I'll be back at 4 o'clock, you can explain it like, I will be back after afternoon snack. Okay. Or if a parent has to leave out of town and they're staying with a relative, you can explain it like, I'll be back in 3 sleeps.
Okay.
So some way that they can understand, because they're probably not going to understand 4 o'clock.
And also when you leave them, like say you're leaving with grandparents or that sort of thing, how important is the routine, that they follow the same routine?
Yes, so having that goodbye ritual, that's part of your routine. And then also, if you're doing daycare or preschool, typically around the same time, you might have had that same morning routine before. So it shouldn't be super chaotic, it shouldn't be super different every time, because kids will really grasp onto that routine and that schedule, and that helps them to not feel as anxious too.
To know what to expect.
Yes.
Yeah, it does seem like routine is key when having children. Speaking from as a standpoint where I don't have kids, but routine seems to be key.
It helps parents too. I mean, everybody knows what to expect. Okay, tell people where to find you if they have more questions or they have other kinds of issues with their kids.
Yeah, so you can find us at Red Door Pediatric Therapy. We are both in Bismarck and in Minot, and you can call us at 701-222-3175.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. This is a really important and I think valuable information for parents. So, I mean, we don't have to feel so bad about everything.
Yes.
All right. We will be back and we will finish things up. So don't go away.